Hey guys, it's Will again, and I am here to do another what I did and what I learned video. Before I get into it though, I just want to say thanks again for you guys that have watched my other videos. I've been really blown away by the response to those. I didn't really expect anybody to be that interested, and I really appreciate the ones of you that have taken your time to watch my stuff. You know, there's so much content out there on the internet, especially when it comes to model building, and the fact that you choose to spend some of your time watching mine is it's a huge compliment. So thank you. Anyway, back to the business at hand. That is to talk about the building of my Tamiya 1/48 scale Spitfire Mark 5B. And let's see. There it is. I'm sure lots of you have already seen this box before. It's a very well-known kit. There's lots and lots of information out there about it. It's kind of Tamiya's standard for no drama model building. And so I'm not going to say a whole lot about the kit itself. In fact, Chris of Chris and Alex Modeling is actually just about to complete an 18 or 20 part video build that he's done on it, and he's done an amazing job. He's added a lot more detail than I did, and his work is fantastic, and you can see all of it in real time. So if you really want to learn about this kit, that's the place to do it. What I'm mostly going to talk about is just sort of some things that I learned along the way, and hopefully you guys will find that interesting and maybe helpful in your own at your own workbench. So here we go. Okay, here she is, and I'm going to attempt to keep this thing under 15 minutes. My videos have tended to run pretty long, so hopefully I can tell you everything I want to in that amount of time. If not, then so be it. Anyhow, I modeled this aircraft after the S&M version that's included in the Tamiya kit, which is a real aircraft. It went into service in, I believe it was early 1943, and unfortunately, along with her pilot, was lost during the D-Day invasion in June of 1944. But there are some good photos of it on the internet, and they show a pretty worn out and hard-used aircraft. It spent most of its time in northeastern England and Scotland, and it had some hard use, and I wanted to try and recreate that. So I'm going to put some photographs up at the end of the video, but you can see that this, you know, what I was after was a pretty hard weathered look. And one of the things that I wanted to do was recreate this wear pattern that Spitfires got sometimes at the wing root from people walking all over them. And you can see that it's kind of uneven on both sides. And I did that this time by putting down some bare metal foil and then painting over it, and I actually created a mask where I used some tape and I just kind of tore it and picked at it to try and get a random pattern, and I put it on there, and then I painted over everything, and at the end of the deal I peeled it all off, and that's what I had. And I feel like it worked out pretty good. You know, it was well controlled. I got the shape and the look that I was after. But I probably could have done without all that and just sprayed over the bare metal and then chipped it by hand, and very easily got the same thing, because I found along the way that the paint just doesn't stick to this stuff very well at all. So you don't need any hairspray, you don't need any chipping fluid. It'll come right off, no problem. Another cool thing that I had discovered with this was Easy Line. You can maybe see these two IFF radio wires here, and look at that. The stuff is elastic thread, and it's available in 2 different thicknesses and a number of colors. The thickness I used is the 0.010 of an inch, and you can also get it in 20 thousandths, which for you metric guys is 1/4 or 1/2 millimeter. And the stuff is fantastic. It sticks really well with cyanoacrylate glue, and costs you about $10 for a roll. So if you ever need to put any of these kind of details on, highly recommend it. I also ordered some metal exhausts from a company called Rex. Very happy with those. They came with some weird color pink paint on them, and so I just, hey, I set the damn things on fire. I held them over a candle and burned off the old paint, and then I put some AK Interactive rust colored wash on them, and I set that on fire, and so I got some real heat effects, and I'm really pleased with the way they turned out. I think they add a lot of realism. Another thing that I did, which was my first time around, and you won't be able to see it very well here, is this was my first go at photo etch, and I bought the Edward kit for the cockpit, which includes the instrument panel and the seat belts and some other things, and it really went pretty well. I was terrified of it because the pieces are so small, but it went far better than I expected it to, and one reason is because of this right here, which is one of my new favorite things, and this is the Ultimate Modeling Products Photo Etch Pencil. It's a wax pencil, and it's just sticky enough that you can easily pick up a tiny photo etch part and then use this to drop it into the spot where you've got the glue waiting for it, and it's a game changer. I don't know how you do it without something like this, because you can't pick up those little parts with tweezers. It's just not going to happen. So definitely recommend one of these if you're going to be doing any kind of photo etch work. Something else that I ran into with this kit that a lot of people talk about is the Tamiya decals. Now, people talk about them being really hard to get off of the paper and really hard to get them to conform to the surface. I didn't find the first thing to be true. They came right off the paper. I don't know if it's because I use microsol in my decal water or not. I'm not sure, but I didn't have any problem with it. I used a technique that I picked up from Chris and Alex. Actually, Alex, the younger, who is just a genius. But basically, I just pick the decal up with tweezers. I dip it in the water, and I have a jar of decal water that I keep ready all the time. I just dip it in it, I use my my gripper tweezers for this. And once it's good and wet, I take it out of the water and I just set it aside for a minute or two. And when it's ready, I just grab it and slide the decal into place. No problems. Where the issues did come in was getting them to conform to the surface, especially these roundels, because Tamiya makes these in two parts. There is a white roundel, and then there's the actual colored roundel. And you have to use the white one for stuff like this, otherwise you're going to have a transparent circle there. And in general, it does make the colors a lot brighter because the decals are just transparent enough that they're going to look dull on top of a dark surface like this if you don't use the white backing. So I see the reason for it. I'm not sure I agree with it or understand why they couldn't just print them, with the white on there already. But nonetheless, with a double thickness, it makes it very difficult to get some of the decals to stick. And in particular, if I can turn it over without causing a disaster, on the bottom, these decals have to conform to these features right here, and you can see that in this case it did not conform very well. And I just made it as if it was weathered a little bit, because hey, that's what you do when you have mistakes, right? You just weather the heck out of it. But it worked out okay, and I'm happy with it. The other thing you can see on the bottom of this plane is that it is extremely filthy. I patterned this after a photograph that I have of one where you see the bottom of it is covered with these streaks of dirt. And for that, I used the Ultimate Modeling Products pigment washes, and man, those things are cool. They work super good. It's a water-based product, so you lay it down and let it dry for about half an hour, and then massage it with a wet Q-tip or a wet paper towel to get the effect that you want. And it's fantastic stuff. Can't say enough about it. It comes in several colors, and I used the dark dirt on this plane and also some of the light dirt. I really liked the sort of random effect of having, two different colors of the wash, in particular on this top surface. So, again, a great product. I thought it worked out really, really well. I also did some other things with some chalk and some of the AK Interactive enamel wash in this NATO color. And I just really had a lot of fun, just got loose with it and creative, and really tried to go after the look that I saw in the photographs, where Spitfires get a lot of gasoline spilled down the sides of the fuselage in places like this, the exhaust stains, all of it adds up to an overall effect of a well-used aircraft. And there's not really a right way to do it, because it is your personal interpretation. But I feel like that I came pretty close to the photographs that I saw, and I feel like that it's a result that I can be happy with. And I'm looking forward to my next project where I get to try out all of those techniques again. I think that's really about it. I can't believe that I've whizzed through all that stuff in less than 15 minutes, but hey, that's what I was trying to do, and hopefully I didn't blather it all out there too quickly, and you guys might pick up something useful there. But I think I'll just go ahead and call it good, shut my mouth, and show you some pictures. And once again, thanks for hanging out with me. Really appreciate it, guys. Much love.